Thousands of family and friends of George Floyd came together in Houston to celebrate, remember, and honor his life, which was tragically taken while in police custody. A number of stars were on hand, including Jamie Foxx, Channing Tatum, J.J. Watt, and Neo. The families of other victims of police brutality got a standing ovation at the funeral. They included relatives of Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, Botham Jean, and Ahmaud Arbery. It was one of the most moving moments during Reverend Al Sharpton's eulogy when he called them all out. Take a look.
All of these families came to stand with this family because they know better than anyone else the pain they will suffer from the loss that they have gone through. Lives like George will not matter until somebody pays the cost for taking their lives.
George Floyd traveled the last mile of his journey in a horse-drawn carriage and was laid to rest next to his mother, who he called out for in his final moments. Whenever I say that, I have to give that some moments to really understand. Meantime, today, one of Floyd's brothers testified in front of Congress. Let's take a look at what he said.
Honor George and make the necessary changes that make law enforcement the solution and not the problem. Teach them what necessary force is. Teach them that deadly force should be used rarely and only when life is at risk. George wasn't hurting anyone that day. He didn't deserve to die over $20. I'm asking you, is that what a black man is worth? $20? This is 2020.
What do you think that meant for him and for the community to see George Floyd's brother speak out like that, Erica?
Actually, I want Al to weigh in on this one first.
Al, what do you think?
You know, I looked at that, and it's just amazing to me, guys, that we're still having this conversation in 2020. There have been 2 UFC events since we've been on lockdown that I've watched. Some of them invented by submission. That means that somebody was like choked until they tapped and they stopped. And yet they're all alive. But yet we're still seeing that police officers are killing people. Why do we still have such inaction in Congress where we still have this kind of thing where we have to weigh out what we're going to do and how we're going to get past this? If this had been any other race of people, if this had been 2 white suburban moms, would we be having this conversation right now? Ask yourself that.
It's a really fair question. Erica, what do you take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I also want to go back to Reverend Al Sharpton when he said, you know, George Floyd's life won't matter until people are held accountable for taking it. That's the thing. There's no accountability. All of these families that are representing Mike Brown, Tatiana Jefferson, Botham Jean, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, all of these names, that there has been no type of accountability. And then people ask, how did we get here? I don't know. Let's talk to parents about it. When your child does something wrong and you don't correct that behavior in its spot, in its place, isn't that telling them that it's okay to do what they're doing? So when they elevate that behavior, is it any shock that they elevated the behavior because you've already normalized said behavior? If you continue to look the other way and find justifications for every single one of their actions, by the time that they become an adult, then you've taught them that all of their poor behavior has been okay. And now you've unleashed them onto society. That is what happens when people aren't reprimanded and told, hey, there is a protocol to how we protect and serve. They are emboldened to the point where we as a nation are all attending a man's funeral who shouldn't be dead right now, when there's a standing ovation for a multitude of families who are in the same situation and still haven't received justice. So when we ask, how do we get here? We know how we got here. But now that we're here, what are we going to do about it?
I completely agree.
Erica, let me
just
jump on that really quickly, Erica. I taught 7th grade for 5 years, and this is a strange example, but try and follow me here. We looked at this now fired Officer Chauvin. He had 12 to 18 prior complaints on his record. that were unaddressed. He was still on the streets. As a former middle school teacher, if you have a kid that has done something egregious to the point where it needed to be dealt with in the office 12 to 18 times, and that kid is still, what does that say to the other kids? What does that say? It says that this behavior is acceptable. Unless something has changed, people don't hear what you're saying. They're looking at what you're doing. And when you do nothing, you say that this is acceptable, period.